Glorified be the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh or Elohim. Glorified be Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, and glorified be the Rakakadash. Alright, we're going to do Judges chapter 1, 2, and 3, because it's very important. Now, after the death of Joshua, the Israelites inquired of the Most High, Yahweh or Elohim, who shall go up first for us against the Canaanites. Canaanites are, lowlands, immoral people, divination practicing demons, pretty much. To fight against them, the Most High said, Judah shall go up. I hereby give the land into his hands. Judah said to his brother Simeon, come up with me into the territory allotted to me, that we may fight against the Canaanites. Then I too will go with you into the territory allotted to you. So Simeon went with him. Then Judah went up, and the Most High gave the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hands, and they defeated 10,000 of them at Bezek. Okay, man. The Perizzites are pretty much the peasants. They love that those depressed conditions, and they have tolerance for abominations. Now, Bezek means lightning in chains, and who fell out of Canaan Mayor, who was a dog and came like lightning down here. The sun, Baal, you know what I'm saying? He was a dog out there in Orion, the northern hemisphere, and now he's a god right here, to these demons. All right, let's proceed. Now it says here that Bezek, they came up, they said that, they defeated 10,000 of them in Bezek. They came upon Adonizebek. Adonizebek means, saying, Lord of Lightning, saying? Pretty much, Satan, Baal, devil, man. They came, at Bezek and fought against him and defeated the Canaanites and the Perizzites. Adonizebek fled, but they pursued him and caught him and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Adonizebek said, 70 kings with their thumbs and big toes cut off used to pick up scrubs under my table. As I have done, so have Yahweh Elohim has paid me back. They brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. So yeah, man, we conquered a divination before, and we'll do it again. Then the people of Judah fought against Jerusalem and took it. They put it to the sword and set the city on fire. Afterwards, the people of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites who lived in the hill country in Negev. Negev means, hot, dry, irritating region, dry land. Okay, in the lowlands, Judah went against the Canaanites who lived in Hebron. Hebron means, the place in between, formerly known as Kiriath-Arba, that's the city of the floor. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's see. And they defeated Shesha and Ahiman and Timon. Shesha means 6, mercy, whitish, white giants, I guess. And Ahiman means brother of a gift, a liberal, like the liberals, left-hand people tolerate abominations. And Talmud means a furrow, to plow, a groove, this depression, you know what I'm saying? The depressed state of being. From there they went against the inhabitants of Debir. Debir means a place of oracles, like pretty much divination. Debir, the name of the Debir formerly was Kiriath-Sefer, that means the place of books, place of the word. And then they said, then Caleb said, whoever attacks Kiriath-Sefer and takes it, I will give him my daughter Aksa. Aksa means, adorn, as a wife, and Othniel, son of Kenaz, Othniel means Yahweh's lion, and Kenaz means to pretty much to bright, brightness. Kenaz's younger brother took it, and he gave him his daughter Aksa as wife. When she came to him, she urged him to ask her father for a field. As she dismounted from her donkey, Caleb said to her, what do you wish? She said to him, give me a present, since you have set me in the land of Negev. Give me Golov Mayan, Golov means the springs, you know what I'm saying, and the lower Golov, the high springs and the lower springs. The descendants of Hobab, the Canaanite, Moses' father-in-law, went up with the people of Judah from the city of palms into the wilderness of Judah, which lies in Negab near Arad. Then they went and settled with the Amalekites. You know who the Amalekites are, man. Wicked, And Hobab means to embrace, and Kenite means a spear, saying something to forge, like a union. Okay, and they defeated the Canaanites. They stayed with the Amalekites, and Judah went with him, with his brother Simeon, and they defeated the Canaanites who inhabited Sepah. Sepah means, dedicated to destruction. People, that are built just to destroy, warmongers, and devoted it to the destruction. So the city was called Hormah. Hormah means banned. Hormah, Judah took Gaza with its territory, Ashkelon with its territory, and Ekron with its territory. Okay, the Most High was with Judah, and he took possessions of the hill country, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the plain, because they had chariots of iron. Hebron was given to Caleb, as Moses had said, and he drove out from it the three sons of Anak, the descendants of giants, But the Benjamites did not drive out the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem, so the Jebusites have lived in Jerusalem amongst Benjamites to this day. Yeah, see, so we did wrong by not kicking these people out, man. Okay, now it says, the house of Joseph also went up against Bethel, and the Most High was with them. The house of Joseph sent out spies to Bethel. The name of the city was formerly Luz. When the spies saw a man coming out of the city, they said to him, "Show us the way into the city, and we will deal kindly with you." So he showed them the way into the city, and they put the city to the sword, but they let the man and all his family go. So a man went to the land of the Hittites and built a city, and named it Luz. That is the name to this day. See, we're supposed to cleanse these people, the land of this place, man. Now it says here, Manasseh did not drive out the inhabitants of Beth Sheman. Okay, Beth Sheman means pretty much my man, just divination practicing fuckers, man, and his and his villages, or Tanakh and his villages, Tanakh means the one who makes you humble, you know what I'm saying? And okay, Tanakh and his villagers and the inhabitants of Dor, you know what I'm saying? Dor means deception, a mocker, a deceiver, and his villagers, or the inhabitants of Ebiam. Ebiam means to lie, deception, man, Ebiam, and its villagers, or the inhabitants of Megiddo and its village, but Canaanites continued to live in that land. When Israel grew strong, they put the Canaanites to forced labor and did not in fact drive them out. And Ephraim did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer, but the Canaanites lived amongst them in Gezer. You know what I'm saying? Megiddo is to cut off, man. You're supposed to cut off, man. And Gezer means a place of ruin. You know what I'm saying? Now it says here, Zebulon, you know what I'm saying? Did not drive out the inhabitants of Kitron, you know what I'm saying? That means bind together. Or the inhabitants of Nahal, but the Canaanites lived amongst them and became subject to forced labor. Nahal means pastures, man, you know what I'm saying? So we were supposed to clean of these people. Asher did not drive out the inhabitants of Akko, or the inhabitants of Sidon, or Halab, or Aksim, or Helba, or Apek, or Rehob, but the Asherites live amongst the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out. Naphtali did not drive out the inhabitants of Beth-Shemesh, or the inhabitants of Bethnan, but live amongst the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitants of Beth-Shemesh and all of Beth-Shemesh became subject to forced labor, and the Amorites pressed the Danites back into the hill country. They did not allow them to come down to the plain. The Amorites continued to live in Her-Heres, in Algeron, and in Shalabim, but the hand of the house of Joseph rested heavily on them, and they became subject to forced labor. The border of Amorites ran from the ascents of Akrabam, from Selah and upwards. Okay, I'm going to give you some of these names, man. I just want to finish it, man. Akko means active. Sidon means, a fishery place, Allah means, specter, once again, man, divination, man. Akse means falsehood. Helba means milk, fatness. Apik means rapid torrents. Reha means wine press. Soothsayer. Amorites means soothsayers. Enchanters. Hafares means sunny hills. Ajalaban means plains. Of oaks and strong. Shelbian means jackals, and Gilgal means disgrace. Boshan means weapons. Okay, let's proceed. Now it says Israel's disobedience. Now the angel of the Most High went up from Gilgal, you know what I'm saying? Gilgal means disgrace, you know what I'm saying? To Boshan, which means weepers, and said, I brought you up from Egypt and brought you into the land that I said I had promised to your ancestors. That's Yahweh Shai, the angel. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. For your part, do not make a covenant with the inhabitants of this land. Tear down their altars, but you have not obeyed my command. See what you have done. So now I say, I will not drive them out before you, but they shall become adversaries to you, and their God shall be a snare to you. Yeah, man, the zodiac, all that shit. When the angel of the Most High spoke these words to all the Israelites, the people wept up their voice, and they named that place Boshem, and they sacrificed to the Most High, man. Boshem means weepers, the death of Joshua. When Joshua dismissed the people, the Israelites all went to their own inheritance to take possession of the land. The people worshipped the Most High all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders who outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works that the Most High had done for Israel. Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Most High, died at the age of 110 years. So they buried him with the balance of his inheritance in Tinameth, in the hills of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. Moreover, the whole generation was gathered to their ancestors, and another generation grew up after them, who did not know the Most High or the works that he had done for them. Pretty much, that was the end of good times right there. All right, Israel's unfaithfulness. Then the Israelites did what was evil in the sight of the Most High and worshipped the Baals, and they abandoned the Most High, the Elohim of their ancestors, who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. They followed other gods from amongst the gods of the peoples who were all around them and bowed down to them. And they provoked Yahweh or Elohim to anger. They abandoned the Most High and worshipped Baal and the Ashtoreths. That means, sun god, the moon goddess of fertility. So the anger of the Most High was kindled against Israel. He gave them over to plunderers, who plundered them and sold them into the power of their enemies all around, so they could no longer withstand the enemies wherever they marched out. The hand of the Most High was against them to bring misfortune, as Yahweh or Elohim had warned them. See? Don't play with the Most, man. And swore to them, and they were in great distress. Then the Most High raised up judges who delivered them out of the power of those who plundered them. Yet they did not listen even to their judges, for they lusted over other gods and bowed down to them. They soon turned aside from the way in which their ancestors had walked, who had obeyed the commandments of the Most High, and did not follow their example. Whenever Yahweh or Elohim raised up judges for them, the Most High was with the judges, and he delivered them from the hand of their oppressors. All the days of the judges for the Most High would be removed to pity by their groaning, because of those who persecuted and oppressed them. But whenever the judges died, they would relapse and behave worse than their ancestors. Always going back, man. Whole head is sick, man. Following other gods, worshiping them, and bowing down to them. They will not drop any of their practices or their stubborn ways. So the anger of Yahweh Elohim was kindled against Israel. And he said, because this people have transgressed my covenant that I commanded the ancestors, and have not obeyed my voice, I will no longer drive out before them any of the nations that Joshua left when he died, in order to test Israel whether or not they would take care to walk in the ways of Yahweh Elohim, as their ancestors did. The Most High had left those nations, not driving them out at once, and had not handed them over to Joshua. See, there you go, man. If this is what you wanted, this is what you get, man. That's what pretty much. Now let's finish chapter 3. Nations remaining in the land. Now these are the nations that the Most High left to test all those in Israel, who had not experienced any war in Canaan. It was only the successive generation of Israel that might know war, to teach those who had not experienced it before. The 5 lords of the Philistines and all the Canaanites, the Sidonians and the Hivitites, who lived on the Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon as far as Lebanon. They were to testing of the Israels, to know whether Israel would obey the commandments of the Most High, which he commanded their ancestors by Moses. So the Israelites lived amongst the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and they took their daughters as wives for themselves, and their own daughters they gave to their sons. They worshipped their gods. See, basically completely sold out, man. Coonism 101, you know what I'm saying? Kush means a double wicked, you know what I'm saying? Drumbarak means pretty much the zodiac, you know what I'm saying? But let's proceed, man. Othniel, that's, the line of Yahweh. The Israelites did what was evil in the sight of the Most High, forgetting Yahweh, their Elohim, and worshiping the Baals and the Ashtoreths, the sun, the moon, goddess of fertility. Therefore the anger of Yahweh or Elohim was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of King Cusharatam, that means double wickedness, of Haram, that's the the zodiac, it's Babylon pretty much. And the Israelites served Cush around Matam 8 years. But when the Israelites cried out to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim raised up a deliverer for the Israelites, who delivered them. Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. The spirit of Yahweh Elohim came upon him, and he judged Israel. He went out to war, and the Most High gave King Cushan of Aram into his hand, and his hand prevailed over Cushan Rish Atam. So the Israelites had rest for 40 years. Then Othniel, son of Kenaz, died. So every time a judge would die, they would revert. Now Ehud means the sword. The Israelites again did what was evil in the sight of the Most High, and the Most High strengthened King Eglon of Moab against Israel, because they had done what was evil in the sight of Yahweh Elohim, in alliance with Ammonites and the Amalekites. He went and defeated Israel, and they took possession of the city of palms. So the Israelites served King Eglon and the Moabites 18 years, back to bondage. But when the Israelites cried out, the Most High delivered them. Yahweh Elohim raised up for them a deliverer, Ehud, the sword, son of Gera the Benjamite, a left-handed man. The Israelites sent tributes by him to King Eglon of Moab. Ehud made for himself a sword with 2 edges, cubit in length, and he fastened it his right thigh under the clothing. Then he presented the tribute to King Eglon of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man. When Eglon had finished presenting the tribute, he sent the people who carried the tribute on their way. But he himself turned back at the sculptured stones near Gilgal and said, I have a secret message for you, O king. So the king said, silence, and all his attendants went out from his prison. Ehud came to him where he was sitting alone at his cool roof chamber and said, I have a message from Yahweh Elohim for you. So he arose from his seat. Then Ehud reached with his left hand, took the sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into Eglon's belly. Yeah, man, he tricked him. He stabbed that fat heifer. He also went into the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, for he did not draw the sword out of his belly. And the dirt came out. Then Ehud went into the vestibule and closed the doors of the roof chamber on him and locked him. After he had done, the servants came. When they saw the door of the roof chamber was locked, they thought he must be relieving himself in the cool chamber, so they waited until they were embarrassed. When he still did not open the door, the roof chambers, they took the key and opened it. They found their Lord lying dead on the floor. So that fat Moabite was dead. Ehud escaped while they delayed and passed beyond the sculptured stones and escaped to Sarai. When he arrived, he sounded the trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went down with him from the hill, having him at their head. He said to them, follow after me, for Yahweh Elohim has given your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. So they went down after him, seized the fords of the Jordan against the Moabites, allowed no one to cross over. At that time they killed about 10,000 of the Moabites, all strong, able bodies. No one escaped, so the Moabites subdued that day under the hand of the Israel. And the land had rest 80 years. Shamgar, after him came Shamgar, son of Anath, who killed 600 of the Philistines with ox god. He too delivered Israel. All right, there you go, man. Same story, man. You cry, you get saved, and then you go back, back and forth, But this is the last deliverance, man. I hope to be edifying, man. Glorify be Yahweh Bashin Yahushai. Glorify be Kakadai. Juan Shubala.